I'm Hope with Pelego.
I'm Sean Werner with Paramount Residential Mortgage.
And today we wanted to talk to you real quick about earnest money.
Great.
All right, so earnest money is the buyer's promise to the seller that they are going to do what they have promised to do in the contract. It gets held by a neutral third party at escrow. The seller doesn't actually get to touch it unless the buyer doesn't do what they say they're going to do.
Okay.
So you can put any amount down for earnest money. You can put down 1% of the purchase price or 10% of the purchase price. The more money you put down, of course, the happier the seller is going to be.
That's true. So a question for you, Hope. So if you have a buyer that's making an offer on a $300,000 sales price and there's 4 similar offers, what would you advise your buyer to do?
Well, of course, it always depends on the buyer's situation as to whether they actually have money in the bank or not. And so if they do have money in the bank and they want to win, I'm going to advise them to put a larger earnest money deposit down. So if they put down, say, 10% on that $300,000, that would be $30,000.
Yeah.
Now, that's a really scary number. Let's not pretend that it isn't. But
I can buy a BMW for that.
well, here in Washington, just so you know, the state law is that the most that a seller can take if things go south would be 5%. So instead of the $30,000, you're actually risking $15,000.
Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that.
Yeah. So the reason that sellers like it, of course, is that they think that, well, you have money in the account, so if anything goes wrong, you'll have a little money. So if the appraisal comes in low, they can ask you for a little cash there that you're going to be able to close because obviously you're a really good financial risk. So that's one of the reasons that sellers really like it. But the other part about Washington State is that it is very, very difficult for a seller to get that earnest money unless the buyer does not perform and do what they say they're going to do.
So give me examples of what that looks like.
So if a buyer says, okay, well, I want 3 days to do an inspection, and then I want to, I have 5 days to talk to my lender and get the loan started, and then they do none of those things and they just ghost everybody, well, then that money would be forfeit to the seller.
Now, what happens if they do an inspection and the inspection has issues? They go to the seller for the inspection issues and the seller says no.
Well, in that case, as long as you have performed within the contract, and if you've got a good agent, you have.
Or that's you?
That would be me, of course.
Yes, okay.
Then you would get your earnest money back because you have done everything that you're supposed to do in the timeline that you're supposed to do it. Now, if you're coming to the seller and it's a day after the time that you had in your contract, then the seller can just say, no, we're just going to proceed on to closing, and then that's when things become an issue.
Now, what happens if you've been in contract for 12 days, okay, and then 2 doors down, a house goes on the market, it has granite countertops, nice stainless steel sink, and it has a heated floor garage for my Harley Davidson. I want to buy that one instead.
Well, in that case, without a valid reason in the contract, and remember, valid is not your feelings or your wants. Valid is what's actually in the contract. So at that point, we are past inspections. We are past the timeline for you to apply to the lender. Really, your only way that you're going to get out of that contract with your earnest money is if you wind up not qualifying for the loan and we get a lender to give us a letter saying so.
But that's really kind of a lack of integrity if you force or ask the lender to even decline when you're really not declining.
And that's not anything I'm ever going to advise.
Yeah.
Neither are you.
So I have to suck up my partial of my earnest money, which is only 5%, right?
It's 5%.
To get that heated garage from Harley Davidson, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'll think about that one. Okay.
Okay. So since earnest money is an important part of the contract, all I care about is that you have it. However, your lender is going to care where it came from.
Okay, so let's talk about earnest money. First of all, we have to source it. Source it means paper trail it. When we do a loan and we get into what's called a contract, make it a real deal, we're going to ask you for your last 2 months of bank statements to source where the earnest money came from. If there's any kind of large deposits, like you had a Christmas present for $10,000 or $2,000, whatever, or if you have cash deposits, we need to know that. The cash deposits you can't use, okay? The money for grandma as your birthday or Christmas present, would be considered called gift funds. And on a government loan, FHA and VA, we're gonna ask for a copy of the check, we're gonna ask for a gift letter, and then we need a copy of grandma's bank statement showing she had the funds to gift to you.
Oh, okay.
Now, if grandma had 20,000 in her bank account and deposited 18,000 last 30 days, and then she gifts you 10, guess what? We're gonna have to find out where the 18,000 of grandma's came from. So it's a paper trail rule.
Okay.
Otherwise, wait till you have 2 months of clean bank statements with no large deposits.
Right.
Sometimes people have sold personal property where maybe they own a surround system like a Bose system, and that system's worth like $300. They bought it for $7, but they want to sell it. So we would just get a handwritten bill of sale between the buyer and the seller, and then of course there's a deposit to source that. That deposit can be cash because it makes sense. Money orders are best. And then we'll have to have a way to source the value of the system. But that's kind of where earnest money's at. The way you can pay earnest money to escrow is you can wire, which is very clean and simple. You can do a cashier's check or personal check.
Correct.
But just know when you give the lender your bank statements for the last 2 months, we're gonna need an activity printout from the last statement to whenever that earnest money check cleared to verify you still have the funds to pay for the earnest money.
Okay.
And then if family's gonna give you money for earnest money or gift you money, the quickest and easiest way is for them to wire to escrow directly.
Oh,
See,
so
it's
it never
a-
goes to your bank account?
Nope, not at all. You just get a gift letter, then you get a copy of their bank statement, so it came out of account, and you're just easy.
Okay.
Sound good?
Really good tips. Thank you.
Well, if you have any questions about earnest money or buying a home or anything else, give me or Hope a call.
Perfect.
Thank you. Bye.